For the first time, many Americans find themselves feeling the effects of the longest government shutdown on record. The scene playing out on repeat at airports across the country today. Hundreds of planes grounded, thousands of flights delayed or canceled, leaving travelers frustrated and concerned.
It's absurd. I think it's a complete failure of government, and the government serving itself and not the people. It's driving me nuts.
Terrible. It's just terrible. I feel like the American people are being held hostage right now.
I plan to come back next Thursday, and I'm very concerned because I need to be back. I need to be back home.
Coming back might be a little bit crazy. Might be a tad bit crazy, but gotta get early. Hopefully I'm not stuck.
And of course, the whole board, there were so many cancellations. So we're gonna just rent a car and drive.
The anxiety from it was crazy, like all morning, just like seeing if we were going to be good to go, you know? So I don't know, it kind of sucks, but I think it's just going to get worse at this rate.
Well, in fact, it could get worse. The Trump administration's order to start shrinking the number of flights at 40 major airports, forcing airlines to scramble like a nationwide blizzard just rolled in. If you were flying here to Reagan National, the average inbound wait time for flights that didn't get canceled hit 4 hours on Friday. Going to Phoenix, 90-minute delays. Flying into Chicago's O'Hare, you're talking about over an hour, and for Houston Hobby, nearly 3 hours. And the air traffic control shortage this was intended to address, that's only getting worse. During the course of the day, various air traffic control facilities were short-staffed 32 times today. And remember, this is just the start. Today's chaos is the result of cutting just 4% of flights. That is a number, though, that will gradually increase in the coming days. It's set to hit 10% by this time next week. And of course, with Thanksgiving 3 weeks away, the Transportation Secretary is already looking ahead, warning that these cuts may need to go even further.
So if this shutdown doesn't end relatively soon, the consequence of that is going to be more controllers don't come to work, and then we're going to have to continue to assess the pressure in the airspace and make decisions that may, again, move us from 10% to 15%, maybe to 20%.
So that fix, though, has to begin about 5 miles from here at the Capitol. The president, who flew to Florida for the weekend, demanding on social media that the Senate stay in town until there is a deal to end the shutdown. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer taking to the floor today with what he called a unified offer from his party. Senate Republican leader John Thune calling that plan a non-starter. While in the House, this happened.
I hereby designate the period from Monday, November 10th, 2025, through Sunday, November 16th, 2025, as a district work period under Clause 13 of Rule 1. Signed sincerely, Mike Johnson.
So just try to wrap your head around this. The House has been in session for just 20 days over the course of the last 5 months. Meantime, earlier at the White House, before jetting off to Florida, the president continued to insist that despite what you see when you go to the store or maybe when you pay a bill, he says things are getting cheaper.
I will say this, if you look at affordability, which they campaigned on, they lied because they talked about, oh, prices are up. No, prices are down under the Trump administration, and they're down substantially.
Late tonight, the White House still trying to avoid paying full benefits to SNAP recipients, some 42 million Americans who rely on food assistance to feed their families. The administration making an emergency appeal to the Supreme Court, asking the court to rule by 9:30 p.m. We're going to bring you that decision as soon as it comes down. CNN's Pete Muntean is here with me at Reagan National Airport in Washington. I feel like you live here now, Pete. I know you do too. You have sources all over the aviation world. What are they telling you tonight?
Well, the big thing here is that this is causing a lot of pain for airlines, and they feel that the Trump administration is forcing airlines to inflict this travel pain on passengers for political gain. But the big thing that's emerging right now is that there are still a lot of delays on top of the cancellations that were mandated by the Trump administration. In fact, Reagan National Airport just went under a ground stop until 10 p.m. Eastern time because of low air traffic control staffing here in the tower, not to mention the delays that exist for flights coming into DCA, which are 4 hours long. We saw about 32 facilities today with short air traffic control staffing. So it essentially means that these Trump mandated cancellations are really not working. The issues are still persisting in the air traffic control system, and controllers are continuing to call out sick or continuing to not show up simply because they continue to not get paid.
So if this is what it looks like with a 4% cut in the number of flights out there, we have Secretary Duffy saying, hey, listen, if we don't get our act together here, we may have to go up to a 20% cut in flights. What would that look like?
It's a pretty big threat. And so we're talking, if it was a 10% cut in flights, let's say,
Which
and that will
be
happen
next
week. So 45,000 flights in the U.S. on an average day. So if we're cutting those flights, it's 4,500 flights. That's worse than the worst day for cancellations we have seen in the last year, over and over again until the shutdown ends. So this is having a huge impact. And by the way, airlines are a huge economic driver. We're not talking about just people and travel, but things and packages and deliveries, the supply chain. So this is a really, really big impact, and it's having a huge impact on airlines, and they are really not happy about this, and they're not buying the safety excuse from the Trump administration to say that they need to siphon off these flights, shed these flights, cut these flights from their schedules to help air traffic controllers and maintain safety in the U.S. airspace system.
They say this is not the way to do it, to make things safer.
Exactly.
All right, Pete, appreciate it. I know you'll be with us throughout the hour. My next source is Sarah Nelson. She's the international president of the Association of Flight Attendants. Sarah, it's good to talk to you. And I want to pick up where actually Pete just left off. The Trump administration has been saying these cuts are about keeping the airspace safe. We just heard from Pete. Airlines are not buying that in terms of this being a safety measure. What are you hearing in terms of safety concerns from your members?
Since the beginning of this shutdown, we have concerns about our safety and our security because while the government is requiring air traffic controllers and transportation security officers to come to work, deemed essential workers, all of the people who support them are on furlough. So we already have an introduced amount of risk right from day one. Then you layer on top of that not paying these people. They've already missed a paycheck and a half. They're about to miss their second full paycheck. These are heroes who have kept our system going this long, 38 days. But they're human beings and they will break. And they have to pay their bills. They have to take care of their own families when they've been working so hard to take care of all of us. So we're very concerned about our safety and security because we know there is absolutely introduced risk into the system. And we have been saying that the system will break because ultimately the system is human. And so we're concerned about that. But what I would also say, Erica, is that these are professionals. The air traffic controllers are professionals who slow things down on a regular basis based on the safety situation, based on the potential risks of continuing. Okay. So this is a move to cut this capacity in the system, but it's going to break anyway because at the end of the day, people cannot go on without getting paid.
Do you think your concerns are being heard by the administration?
It seems that the administration wants this shutdown. It seems that they have done this on purpose like they did in 2019, trying to create an argument for privatizing everything. There's been a dismantling of the government since January. There has been an attempt to demoralize federal workers, to get them to walk away. This is all about trying to break everything. So we need some leadership here. We need Senator John Thune to step up and be the leader that he should be. Stop these two manufactured crises, both the government shutdown, people not getting paid, being forced to come to work without pay, stranding people everywhere, leaving us in a less safe condition, and the collapse of our healthcare system if we don't extend these subsidies. Those are two crises that can be taken care of with one vote. That vote can happen tomorrow. We've been saying that for a long time, and it is time to get this over with and done. And this administration needs to stop playing games with American safety, health, and economic stability.
Sarah Nelson, appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.